Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into the messy, high-stakes world of commercial grease traps. If you're running a commercial kitchen, managing a restaurant, or overseeing a food processing facility, you already know your plumbing is basically the unsung hero of your daily ops. But right beneath the surface is this critical piece of infrastructure that absolutely demands your attention. So let's get right into it, shall we? Let's just tackle the biggest mystery in facility management right off the bat. Is there a magic number of days you should wait before cleaning out your grease trap? Is it every 3 weeks, every quarter, a couple times a year? Well, we've pulled insights from commercial drainage experts to finally decode this maintenance timeline. And, spoiler alert here, simply guessing or waiting for a problem to pop up, yeah, that's a recipe for a very expensive, very messy disaster. Section 1. Stopping the FOG. So before we even talk schedules, we really have to understand the enemy your plumbing is battling literally every single day. Meet fog, fats, oils, and grease. Your grease trap is specifically designed to intercept this menacing trio before it ever hits the municipal sewer system or local treatment facilities. You can kind of think of your trap as a heavily tested bouncer at the door of your plumbing system, right? It protects the broader city infrastructure from that heavy, sticky buildup. But just like any bouncer dealing with an unruly crowd, it can only hold back so much pressure before the line completely breaks. The crucial point here is recognizing exactly when that defense is starting to fail. Because if fog is allowed to build up for too long, it completely obstructs the internal baffles and flow paths. And that creates an absolute visceral nightmare in your kitchen. We're talking slow drains, stalling out your dishwashers, recurring awful smells that are guaranteed to drive your customers away, and even highly contaminated foul wastewater. It isn't just some minor inconvenience, it's a massive disruption to your entire operation. Moving on to Section 2, when traps reach capacity. To avoid those super gross consequences, we really need to shift our perspective. We have to stop thinking of the grease trap as just, a hollow pipe, and start treating it like a ticking sponge that has a very strict limit. A functioning trap actually relies on a delicate physical balance to do its job. Once that capacity threshold is exceeded, basically when the internal volume hits roughly 80% solids and FOG, the trap fundamentally loses its ability to separate solids from liquids. The sponge is totally full, and raw grease just spills right over, choking your outgoing lines. Okay, time to bust a massive myth right now. There is absolutely no one-size-fits-all calendar schedule that works for every business. You literally can't just pick a random date on the calendar, apply it to every commercial kitchen, and just assume you're protected. Every single facility operates under totally different conditions, and treating them all the same, well, that is just a huge operational mistake. Section 3. What dictates the schedule? Since we can't just circle a single universal date, we really have to look at your kitchen's unique variables that dictate how fast that sponge fills up. Your fog load is completely unique to you, driven by 5 distinct factors. First up, kitchen volume and hours. Quite simply, more cooking time equals more grease. Second is your menu. A heavy-duty menu with lots of sautéing or frying will obviously fill a trap way faster than a light-duty cafe. Third is the actual physical size and design of your unit. Fourth, and honestly this one is huge, is housekeeping. Are your staff actually scraping cookware and using strainers, or are they just rinsing grease straight down the sink? And finally, flow rate. High water volumes can drastically alter how solids move or fail to move through your system. Which brings us to Section 4. Finding your perfect frequency. Instead of just waiting around for a catastrophic clog to tell you it's time, let's actually build a proactive, customized maintenance strategy. By following a solid 4-step procedure, you shift from guessing to predicting. Step 1, keep really meticulous records of your service dates and actual grease and sludge measurements. Step 2, actively check those levels during your regular inspections just to ensure you're staying below that capacity threshold. Step 3, continuously review your drain performance indicators. Look, if you smell an odor or see a slow drain, your schedule is already way too infrequent. And Step 4, adjust on the fly. Things like catering events, seasonal rushes, or even just throwing a new fried dish on the menu will totally change your grease loading. You've got to adapt right along with it. Also, as you're building out this customized schedule, you definitely need to confirm your obligations with local jurisdictions. A lot of them actually require specific service intervals, interceptor permits, and really strict documentation. You might be subject to health and sanitation oversight, so keeping those detailed records from licensed service providers isn't just, a good practice, it's very often a legal requirement. Trust me, those records are absolutely invaluable when it comes time to renew permits or if you ever have to defend against customer complaints. Section 5. The cost of waiting.
Now we have to talk about the harsh financial and operational realities of falling behind on the schedule. Like, what actually happens when you push that capacity limit way too far? Well, you're faced with a pretty stark choice. On one hand, you have the calm, low-cost predictability of planned service. On the other, the incredibly expensive, operation-halting chaos of an emergency cleanout. Planned service keeps your budget totally flat, keeps the inspectors happy, and keeps your drains flowing. But when maintenance falls behind, you're looking at repeated backups, massive repair costs, and even potential environmental harm if illegal discharges occur. Emergency callouts are pretty much always your absolute worst-case scenario. But honestly, here is the cruelest irony of all. The true cost of waiting almost always rears its ugly head during your absolutely busiest service rushes. It happens exactly when that accumulated grease has literally no time to settle. Think about it. When you're pushing maximum wastewater volume during, say, a huge Friday night dinner rush, any excess fog sitting in an overcapacity trap is going to get totally stirred up and forced right into your drainage lines. That is exactly when a failure is guaranteed to happen. I love this quote from our source material because it really just perfectly summarizes this entire explainer. It says, choosing an appropriate maintenance schedule for grease traps is a balance of compliance, capacity management, and real-world performance. And that hits the nail on the head. Your main goal here is to consult a qualified provider, assess your own unique kitchen conditions, and constantly balance those three elements so that buildup never ever reaches the point where separation fails. So I'm going to leave you with this thought to take back to your facility today. Are you predicting your trap's capacity, or are you just waiting for a clog? Are you actively managing your unique system based on hard data, your specific menus and volume, or are you literally just crossing your fingers and hoping for the best? Look, being proactive is really the only way to protect your kitchen, your budget, and honestly, your peace of mind. Thanks so much for tuning into this explainer, and we'll see you next time as we continue to break down the systems that keep your operations running smoothly.